Right, a very good morning to you. I hope you are doing well, and thank you so much for joining us this 15th day of November right here at Kirk Mid Morning. My name is Faith Kaulu. Do stay with us from now till the end of this program and interact with us on our social media pages. That is Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. I'd like to hear from you. Where are you watching us from this beautiful morning where the Lord has blessed us with rains? I'll be letting you in on what a topic of discussion will be this day. But before I do that, let's have a look at the news bites, and we'll start with matters security. Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has ordered for sustained crackdown on criminal elements and bandits terrorizing citizens across the country. While announcing a shake-up of police command in Nairobi during a press briefing yesterday, Kithure Kindiki has assured Kenyans that the government has taken the necessary measures to curb the emerging crime trends in major cities across the country.
On behalf of the government of Kenya, to assure all Kenyans and all persons who are lawfully residing in our country that our nation remains safe. In this regard, I would like to appreciate the patriotic and gallant role that is played by our security agencies. And at this moment and on this occasion, I take this opportunity to thank all our officers who are responsible for the internal security of our country, for the sacrifices that they continue to make in making their fellow citizens and other people who are lawfully in Kenya safe together with their property. The overwhelming majority of our officers continue to serve this nation under very difficult circumstances. In the process, we have lost officers in the line of duty. I take this opportunity to tell our officers that the government recognizes the sacrifices that they continue to make. And it is the position of government that no amount of financial or any other form of compensation can reward the patriotic input and sacrifice that our officers continue to make. Many of them continue to protect our people in very hostile and risky situations. And as I have said, as a result, we have lost officers, others have been injured in the line of duty. I reiterate the commitment of the government to defend and protect our officers who are lawfully engaged in their duties, and take this opportunity to confirm and assure them the government and I personally, as the minister responsible for Interior, will protect them, defend them, and make sure that their sacrifices, their contribution is recognized, appreciated, and guarded jealously. Finally, we have witnessed increasing criminal activity within the city of Nairobi. A small group of criminals armed with knives and other weapons is terrorizing the citizens of this city, as well as a few other urban centers. Those boys who have dared the government and want to tell us that they can take over the city and make it a city of crime, we have also heard you, and therefore we are coming, effective immediately. We have taken measures already, as I have said, with regard to counter-terrorism. We have started taking measures already, which we cannot announce on the response to bandits and banditry, and we have taken measures to deal with the emerging crime trend in Nairobi. In this regard, the leadership and the command of the police has changed the command of the Nairobi City police deployment effective immediately. The National Police Service also has put in place again a multi-agency, multi-discipline response to this problem to get these our errant sons, maybe daughters, to get them out of our streets and put them where criminals belong to.
Professor Kithure Kindiki, Cabinet of Interior, right there, speaking yesterday during a press briefing, of course, on the state of security in the nation. Now, let's move on to other matters. Police officers linked to the killing of Samantha Pendo, who is known as Baby Pendo, were arraigned in court yesterday and are to face murder charges. The suspects did not, however, answer to the charges, as the prosecution asked for more time to allow 3 more suspects appear. Judge Daniel Ogembo ordered that all the accused appear in court on the 21st of this month to answer to the charges of murder. The suspects are accused to have committed the crime 5 years ago in Kisumu.
In the courts for about 5 years in balancing the constitutional rights of the subjects before the court and those of the victims. It is my view that it is proper and fair that plea be taken so that this matter may be determined one way or the other. It is in the interests of both sides, therefore, that the subjects do take plea hearing and to respond to the charges as urged by the prosecution and supported by counsel.
Elsewhere, leaders of Laikipia North have called for peaceful coexistence among pastoral communities living in the region. Speaking during a peace meeting convened to quell tension in the region occasioned by recent attacks, which have caused hundreds of people to flee their homes, the leaders have warned those who are fueling violence, saying that their days are numbered.
Tusimamishe hii upuzi ya kupigana bila sababu, ya kutoana uhai bure, ndo tuweze kuweka akili zetu, tuweke nguvu zetu, tuweke mali yetu kwa maendeleo yenu.
Ile vitendo ambayo ilitendeka tarehe 11 nafikiri ilitokea na hakuna mtu alikuwa ametarajia kitendo kama hili. Lakini yale matendo ambayo yalitokea baadaye ili tuweze kurudisha amani, maana makusudi yetu ni pia kwa wale watoto wetu ambao wanafaa kuwa hapa shule kesho. Si mnajua shule inafaa kuwa hapa kesho? Kwa nini wasikuwe shule? Hakuna sababu.
A very short break right here at Kirk Mid Morning. Do stay with us. When we come back, we'll be talking about matters financial in the counties as well as in the nation. I'll be introducing my guest in a few, so do interact with us on our social media pages. Let us know where you are watching us from. Definitely looking forward to hear from you on how counties can handle the pending bills. Do keep it Kirk Mid Morning. welcome your feedback on our programming. For questions or comments, kindly get in touch with us via email info@kirktv.org, SMS 0111 220044, or call us on 0794 588 054. Christmas already here at Kirk TV, the season of cheer and goodies. Are you a church organization and would like to air your end of year and New Year services? Are you thinking of reaching a wider audience and showcasing your Christmas cantatas and concerts? Have you thought about showcasing your Sunday school services to the entire country? Then, Kirk TV is offering you the end year advert bonanza. We will cover and broadcast all the above events at up to 50% off our normal rates starting this October till January 2023. Usiwachwe nyuma hii Krisi. Call our sales team now on 0738 278 506 or 0739 971 607. Send an email bnkogie@kirktv.org or munyoroku@kirktv.org for more information. Hurry and book now. Pamoja tuvuke mwaka. It's the Kirk TV End Year New Year Advert Bonanza.
A 198 countries will convene this November in Egypt. Together, they'll tackle this giant climate change. Catch the analysis of the United Nations Climate Change Conference COP27 live on Kirk TV as the conference kicks off from Sunday 6th November to Friday 18th November. The time for climate action is now. Together for implementation.
Fellow Kenyans and Christians, I urge you, things are not good. Aki, mambo si poa. Hii environment tuitunze jameni. Let us plant trees. And please don't say you don't have anywhere to plant trees. Each one of us can plant 1, 2, 10, as many trees as we can. Because even if you have a small plot, and you are saying you don't have space to plant a tree, if we have drought, even that small piece of land that you have will not help you. Ninawasihi nyinyi wote, mukubali tupande miti. Our institutions tupande miti. Makanisani tupande miti. Kwetu manyumbani, hata wala watu tunaishi town, panda miti hata kama ni kwa bucket. Na hiyo miti itatupatia hewa safi. Na hiyo miti itatupatia mazingira mazuri. Wakati huu ni kugumu, ninawasihi kama mwenzenu, Mkenya mwenzenu, Mkristo mwenzenu, mukubali tuungane mikono, tupande miti. Na miti ni uhai. Tafadhali, tupande miti. Asanteni sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Christians, this is Reverend Robert Waihenya, and I love the Lord as my personal Savior, the Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa. And I'm here making a call to all Christians and to everybody during this time when we are campaigning to plant trees as we take care of our environment. And I'm calling upon all Christians and all Kenyans, and more so our Presbyterian community, to now aggressively engage on planting trees so that we can take care of our environment. Let us, even if you have a small yard, let us take time so that we can plant trees, because we cannot have a great nation, we cannot have a great country unless we have enough trees to take care of our environment. So let us make our country great. Let us take care of our environment, and let us all make a step, go and get somewhere and plant a tree and make sure that in your backyard you have several trees to take care of the small environment you have there. And for corporate bodies, let us all work together so that we can plant enough trees for our environment. We started the campaign some few years back where we call upon our Presbyterians to ensure we plant 1 million trees per year. It is now a clarion call so that we can now plant more trees, more than 1 million, because as you have seen, our climate has changed.
Extremely humbling. It's very inspiring to see the leaders discussing about COP27 happening in Egypt, about climate change, about sustainable development goals crafted by the UN in 2015. And we are happy to say that leaders out there need to know that environment is key, climate change is real, and we have an action to do in our businesses, in our churches, in our organizations, in our mosque, that whatever that we do, we need to reduce the carbon footprint. Those who are doing manufacturing, let's ensure that we are using green energy. Those who are in real estate, let's encourage green building. Optiven, we have a program, we are calling it Go Green, whereby we inspire our people to plant trees. We encourage our customers to use, to recycle the water. We also discourage the disposing of plastic, especially in our oceans, because we must be able to save life under the sea. And for us as leaders, we have a responsibility to take care of our planet Earth. We have no other planet. We need to implement all sustainable goals, be it life in water, life under the land, be it sustainability of our environment, so that we are able to fight these issues of climate change. And I'm happy to say that many business people are now talking about carbon credits, that whatever you can do, if you are in construction like Optiven, ensure you use natural lighting, that we are able to reduce the carbon out there. And once you do that, the planet is going to be more friendlier. Let's take care of our planet Earth. We have nowhere else to go. This is the only one that we do have. Those who are doing agriculture, let's be careful on the pesticides and the insecticides that we are using, to ensure that we are using, chemicals that are manageable, especially with the human habitation. And we have a responsibility. Let's do it. See you at COP27. It's extremely humbling. It's very inspiring to see the leaders discussing about COP27 happening in Egypt, about climate change, about sustainable development goals crafted by the UN in 2015. And we are happy to say that leaders out there need to know that environment is key, climate change is real, and we have an action to do in our businesses, in our churches, in our organizations, in our mosque, that whatever that we do, we need to reduce the carbon footprint. Those who are doing manufacturing,
we welcome your feedback on our programming. For questions or comments, kindly get in touch with us via email info@kirktv.org, SMS 0111 220044, or call us on 0794 588 054. Christmas already here at Kirk TV, the season of cheer and goodies. Are you a church organization and would like to air your end of year and New Year services? Are you thinking of reaching a wider audience and showcasing your Christmas cantatas and concerts? Have you thought about showcasing your Sunday school services to the entire country? Then, Kirk TV is offering you the end year advert bonanza. We will cover and broadcast all the above events at up to 50% off our normal rates starting this October till January 2023. Usiwachwe nyuma hii Krisi. Call our sales team now on 0738 278 506 or 0739 971 607. Send an email bnkogie@kaktv.org or munyoroku@kaktv.org for more information. Hurry and book now. Pamoja tuvuke mwaka. It's the Kirk TV End Year New Year Advert Bonanza.
198 countries will convene this November in Egypt. Together, they'll tackle this giant climate change. Catch the analysis of the United Nations Climate Change Conference COP27 live on Kirk TV as the conference kicks off from Sunday 6th November to Friday 18th November. The time for climate action is now. Together for implementation.
Fellow Kenyans and Christians, I urge you, things are not good. Aki, mambo si poa. Hii environment tuitunze jameni. Let us plant trees. And please don't say you don't have anywhere to plant trees. Each one of us can plant 1, 2, 10, as many trees as we can. Because even if you have a small plot, and you are saying you don't have space to plant a tree, if we have drought, even that small piece of land that you have will not help you. Ninawasihi nyinyi wote, mukubali tupande miti. Our institutions tupande miti. Makanisani tupande miti. Kwetu manyumbani, hata wale watu tunaishi town, panda miti hata kama ni kwa bucket. Na hiyo miti itatupatia hewa safi. Na hiyo miti itatupatia mazingira mazuri. Wakati huu ni kugumu. Ninawasihi kama mwenzenu, Mkenya mwenzenu, Mkristo mwenzenu, mukubali tuungane mikono, tupande miti. Na miti ni uhai. Tafadhali, tupande miti. Asanteni sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Christians, this is Reverend Robert Waihenya, and I love the Lord as my personal Savior, the Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa. And I'm here making a call to all Christians and to everybody during this time when we are campaigning to plant trees as we take care of our environment. And I'm calling upon all Christians and all Kenyans, and more so our Presbyterian community, to now aggressively engage on planting trees so that we can take care of our environment. Let us, even if you have a small yard, let us take time so that we can plant trees, because we cannot have a great nation, we cannot have a great country unless we have enough trees to take care of our environment. So let us make our country great. Let us take care of our environment, and let us all make a step, go and get somewhere and plant a tree, and make sure that in your backyard you have several trees to take care of the small environment you have there. And for corporate bodies, let us all work together so that we can plant enough trees for our environment. We started the campaign some few years back where we call upon our Presbyterians to ensure we plant 1 million trees per year. It is now a clarion call so that we can now plant more trees, more than 1 million, because as you have seen, our climate has changed.
Extremely humbling. It's very inspiring to see the leaders discussing about a COP27 happening in Egypt, about climate change, about sustainable development goals, crafted by the UN in 2015, and we are happy to say that leaders out there need to know that environment is key, climate change is real, and we have an action to do in our businesses, in our churches, in our organizations, in our mosque, that whatever that we do, we need to reduce the carbon footprint. Those who are doing manufacturing, let's ensure that we are using green energy. Those who are in real estate, let's encourage green building. Optiven, we have a program, we are calling it Go Green, whereby we inspire our people to plant trees. We encourage our customers to use, to recycle the water. We also discourage the disposing of plastic, especially in our oceans, because we must be able to save life under the sea. And for us as leaders, we have a responsibility to take care of our planet Earth. We have no other planet. We need to implement all sustainable goals, be it life in water, life under the land, be it sustainability of our environment, so that we are able to fight these issues of climate change. And I'm happy to say that many business people are now talking about carbon credits, that whatever you can do, if you are in construction like Optiven, ensure you use national lighting, that we are able to reduce the carbon out there. And once you do that, the planet is going to be more friendlier. Let's take care of our planet Earth. We have nowhere else to go. This is the only one that we do have. Those who are doing agriculture, let's be careful on the pesticides and the insecticides that we are using, to ensure that we are using, chemicals that are manageable, especially with the human habitation. And we have a responsibility. Let's do it. See you at COP27.
Back, and thank you so much for keeping it Kirk mid-morning this day. Right about now, I want to get to your topic of discussion this morning, and I'm joined by Francis Madea, who's a financial expert. Thank you so much for being here. Even as we plan to talk about financial planning and expenditure, we'll look more on our counties, but of course we'll touch a bit on the national government. But before we delve right into it, do tell us more about yourself and what you do.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers. My name is Francis Madea. My profession is finance, and been in this field for quite some time. Worked in various institutions, and I'm happy this morning to share a bit regarding the county government expenditure, national government expenditure, so that we can walk the talk together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
And to you who's watching us, do let us know where you're watching us from on our social media pages. That is Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. I'd like to hear your opinion as well, and any questions you have, we'll address them on what we are discussing about today. So drop them down below. Remember, our SMS number is 0111 220044. That is 0111 220044, and we'll have a look at your comments coming in. Francis, let's start with talking about sources of revenue and income for counties. Of course, we know there's the government allocation, but other than that, just to make sure that whoever's watching us is also, we bring them on board to understand well, what are some of the sources of revenue for counties?
Thank you, Kauru, for this opportunity. The sources of revenue for county governments, majorly, and a closed board in terms of county government, are majorly on rates. Rates are the ones that the landowners, the leasehold owners, do pay their rates to the county government. There is also business licenses that are given to the counties for all the business we operate. There are other cess for those who transport goods through counties, like SAD and other goods across the county. They pay various cesses. We have parking fees. That is what is also given to the county government, and quite a number of variety of fees that are paid to the county government together with what is county government allocation through the national government.
Right.
It piles up to the kitty of the county government.
Okay.
Yeah.
I started off with this question because we're looking at a proposed bill here to increase the allocation of revenue to counties. This is by 35%. Of course, right about now the allocation is around 370 billion, and they're asking for more money. So let's talk about this.
Yes. Yes, if you look at the constitution, it had envisaged that counties government will be given 15% of the national GDP. But then the governors has been requesting the national government, and this has actually been upscaled over the years.
Right.
And the reason why counties are asking for more funding is the mere fact that some of the devolved functions that are in the constitution are still quite a lot of money is still held by the national government.
Okay.
These are the monies that they are saying devolve fully. For example, the agricultural sector, devolve fully the health sector.
Right.
So that the resources that you keep under these trickle down to the counties where they have a direct touch to the common mwananchi. So that is why it has been a reason why the county governments, the governors are asking for more money for this. If you look at the development, there is scope of development that is given to the counties. Of course, the rural roads, the water infrastructure, the agricultural issues, which is the base basket for this country to feed the Kenyans, is not sufficient to support the county government. Therefore, there is that agitation for more revenue. From the national government. Of course, when you look at the government, again, it has also strains that is going through because of the huge debt that this country is looking at and trying to see how they marvel out of the murky issues of high debt. And the drought coupled with the COVID and the drought that we are facing currently, there's a huge challenge for both the national and county government in terms of resources. Yes.
Okay. I like how you put it that there's a need for more revenue. But then let's look at how this money has been used previously. Of course, there isn't such a good reputation for that because we see misappropriation of funds. We see cases. I mean, when you look at how previously financial planning has been in the counties, as much as we talk the need of more revenue, then we really question, the real aim or the real motive of asking for an increase. When we bring this into picture, now, do you still hold on to the fact that counties need more money?
The issue of integrity, both at national and county government, is a big issue in this country, and especially on matters corruption. Really affects the running of the county government, so to speak. And if I take you back to 2013, county government came into being on a cover of an existing municipal councils. So they put a jacket of a county government inside a pullover called the municipal councils. There were cultures that existed within the municipalities during those times of former President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. And that culture continues to grow within the county government. And therefore, when somebody is planning to do, because if you look at the county government, the kind of documents that are prepared are very nice documents in terms of management of resources. But when it comes to the actual management of resources, then where that we have a problem. And I think that is where this country needs to address itself. How do we deal with with corruption, because that is the major. I can tell you, when contracts are given in the county government, before somebody gets that contract, what does he go through? If you sit with the contractors in the county government, they will tell you what they go through on corruption matters. So I think that's an area that we have a big gap that we need to address.
Right.
Yeah.
And do we, I know I'm getting off topic a bit,
yes,
but I think this is necessary.
Yeah.
Will we ever get to a point where, we'll not be talking about corruption cases, the leaders we elect will have integrity?
If I was to be asked, if the leadership are really keen, right from the top, for our president, Dr. William Ruto, it will start there.
Okay.
If him is a believer that we must end corruption, then it will trickle down to the grassroots, where we shall finish corruption. Why I say so, I have examples like China, where people, when a president comes in and says zero corruption, and he pushes a law in court to say that whoever is found being corrupt is the penalty is hung, you hang. And that, if you look up China in their country, went a very big step reducing the level of corruption. I think this is an area that we all must rise and say this must stop. But much more, what we need to do is inculcate a culture of talking about the ills of corruption right from the kindergarten, from our nursery school children. Let's start training them the ills and the evils and the effects of corruption, so that that young generation, as it grows up, then we will finally have a culture that detests and hates corruption.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, we hold on to hope as well.
Yeah.
Let's go back to talking about matters, finances.
Yes.
We have the issue of pending bills in our county governments, which is a very big headache.
Yes.
And an estimation revealed that there's about, can I say, 107 billion. This is for all 47 counties, and could be even more than that. I mean, let's talk about this issue. This is a very big headache, especially for can I say first-time governors or governors who, new governors who are coming in. How should they deal with this issue? Why do we have such huge amounts of pending bills?
Do you know there is nothing like called pending bills in real sense?
Okay.
Because every county makes a budget. And when it makes a budget, and it is approved through the county assembly, the officer in charge execute a requisition to do procurement based that he has seen that the vote book has money.
Okay.
So when you look at your votes and the kind of revenue has been corrected, and you are now assured through the treasury that we have money that we can now pay for this project, that is the time, with all the documentations, that you requisition for that particular project, for that particular. What happens is, when that is procured, that money should be sealed. That money should be blocked, not be used, because as you have already started the process. So when that contract is awarded, the question is then, how then comes that we have a pending bill? It is purely corruption. It is the ones that breeds that. Because even when the resources have not come forth from the national government, for example, pending bills should be bills with a direct vote waiting to be received. And therefore we will not talk about pending bills, because on 30th June, there is what we call a supplementary budget, prepared to ensure that all works that have been procured and have not been completed to pay are rolled over together for the next budget, together with the revenue, because the revenue, the amount is still somewhere in the treasury that has not been used. So that when you roll over and the project is finished the subsequent year, then the money is available to pay. But then you'll find when we have procured, we don't prioritize that, we counter prioritize, we have other interest, we pay other bills that were not supposed, they are not even procured, and finally you end up with a procured contractor who you don't have money to pay. So that is what they call the pending bill, but it's purely mismanagement of resources. If you keenly only procure when the resource, because that is what the PFM Act envisages, and the vote book has money, then you should not have pending bills whatsoever. Yes.
I like
so, so the governors should not be wait to be told, should be hands-on on treasury, on the Waziri Finance, Waziri, the in charge CEO of Finance. They should always sit and see what are we procuring, how much resources do we have, do they rhyme? Once you've looked at in the recurrent expenditure for operations of the county government, do we have enough money that we are procuring? That should be checked on a daily basis, so that you don't procure if you don't have resources. Yep.
How, let's talk about now that we're already here, we've found ourselves at this situation, how will this affect county budgets and of course for the, let's say, incoming governors?
It will affect them in this way, that they will not look for budgeting for development for new projects. They will now look at the current projects that are not paid and allow that to be absorbed in the current budget, so that you pay whatever project that has been procured and are no resources within the current resources. So there will not be a ambition to start new projects. You first concentrate on the new one, on the old ones, so that you finish in terms of that. But you see now that's a retrogressive, because you are addressing people's problems who created problems other than moving forward. Yes. At the same time, they also look at how do you stop linkages in terms of revenue correction. And that's a big issue. But Kauru, you just need to walk in this town, Nairobi, for example, or anywhere in this country, and you find a parking where you say it, and you find a yellow kabuti coming near you and say, Mkubwa, you don't need to pay. And wacha nitakuangalilia gari. Then when he comes, he wants you to pay 50 with the parking is 100. That is a linkage. That's the loss that we are talking about in terms of revenue. And this to be checked. They should do new ways of parking. There should be I was impressed with this highway. The highway, the one that is Nairobi Highway, the newly created Uhuru Highway, super highway. You find when you paid a monthly, ukipita hizo barriers, it is able to scan the car and allow you to pass without human effort. A city like Nairobi should, all entrance should have that kind of a thing. That when you pay monthly. If you are regular, when you pay as you enter at the gate, and the machines are able to detect that number, so that even if you're not staying, it allows you maybe 30 minutes to be in town if you are entering a town. But after that, then it just start charging. That will help to eliminate human effort in terms of revenue corrections. That's just an example.
All right. Okay. And even as we're talking about pending bills, how else should we introduce perhaps a law or a regulation to curb this?
You see, the law is always, the law is already there. The PFM Act is already there. You cannot procure services through the procurement processes, the Procurement Act 2015, if the funds are not available. You are not allowed to procure by law. You only procure when the funds are available. But when now the process starts, the Treasury should rock that money, so that when the project is finally finished, you just pay. But that is not followed. That's where the gap is.
When we talk about pending bills, of course, the big headache, we also look at the issue of ghost workers. Something that a lot of governors have brought to light as well recently. And we see the huge amount that has been going to people who are non-existent as well. Let's talk about this issue, because of course, when we are talking about county finances, this is also something that is draining the basket.
Yes, that's true. You see, being former county executive for finance, this was a big challenge because every political leader who comes in place, he has a number of people who helped him ascend to power or ascend to become a governor, to be an MP or an MCA. Yeah. And there is a huge expectation for reward those who support it. And this is what pushes the governors to employ even where the services are not required. So you end up seeing today, if you look at the average wage bill of most counties, is between 4.5 to almost 6.5 billion. That's a huge amount of money in relation to the counties, the kind of revenue they are given. So why is it happening? Is because the functions, the jobs are not costed, the functions are not costed at the county level to know exactly what is it that is required in this operation. And therefore these operations require how many people that we do in HR. So once you determine you require 2 people, this should remain 2. But you see now, you will have 2 cars, like I was saying, you like 12 cars, but you have 100 drivers. Yeah. I mean, how does it resonate? How did you end up having 100 drivers when you have only 12 cars in a county? So those are the things that, with a willing reader, is easy to deal with. Because there are technologies, the biometrics that you can be able to see who clocks in every morning and what jobs does he do, what work has she or she done during that day. And you can quickly know somebody who is in and somebody who is not out. In our county, when we did that forensic audit, we realized that we had paying some employees who were actually working abroad. And they were still workers within the county. Then we are told they were given at one time, they were given some scholarship, they went abroad. But the scholarship expired, they never came back, but they continued paying. So we had to stop quite a lot for that. So it is an issue that needs to be addressed because we have a lot of revenue loss on that area. And you know, the opportunity cost forgone is some development, some children who should have been given bursaries, some ECDs should have been constructed, drugs in the hospital should have been given. They are losing because that money is going somewhere.
All right. What other ways do we, I'd say, recklessly, for lack of a better word, lose money? Yes.
You see, unfortunately, I hope this time the judiciary will rise up to the occasion. Because when the SEC does its work, the anti-corruption, and follows up and finds these people were unfairly or wrongly employed, somebody should take responsibility. And it should be clear that when you punish 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 people who did that long agenda, then it acts a deterrent for future. But kama tutajua tu when we shall know that these were ghost workers and the best we will do is to remove them for a payroll. That's it.
And no consequences.
And then consequences. What will prevent tomorrow another one is employed. So there should be a deliberate effort to make sure that those who are in charge are punified and are held responsible for those acts.
I do agree with you. But we brought that issue and it has made me realize that we have some governors who probably served their term and now vie for the senatorial seat, a position that is supposed to
check the governor.
And probably you as the governor, you were involved in some corruption dealings.
It's a circus. I mean, it's a circus because I think the days, the leaders that we normally see, like Nelson Mandela, that we envy as a leader, people should, when they are given those positions, there should be a reason. That somebody who vies for a position, it is not a self-seeking position. It is a position to serve the nation. It is a position to serve the people of this country. But what happens is most of the time, and of course because of our culture as Kenyans, we put people who spend a lot of money for them to take those positions. And because we demand that money when they are doing campaigns. So ni sisi tunajidunga mwimba, because it is us who finally keep asking them for money. When they go there, they look for all the clever ways to get their money back. So we bear the big brand.
Yeah.
But I think the time has come, both politically, that through civic educations, we tell our people, hey, the time has come, that we're no longer going to elect people because they are giving us money. And this is a dream that I desire will happen in this country.
Yeah.
That we are not going to give you this position, but we are going to give you this position because we know you. We have your track record. You are a man of integrity. We will not require any of your fund, but we will vote for you.
Yeah.
When you go there, ensure you become a selfless reader, a servant reader, to articulate our issues and resolve, because the resources will be given to you.
Right.
That is the time that our country will change. Yes.
Great. Still talking matters county governance, talking about leadership. We have the issue of the members of county assembly asking for the ward development fund.
Yes.
You called it a circus. I think there's no better way to put it.
Yes.
But since it's something of public interest, let's talk about it.
The same thing, I will say this. Of course, today we have quite a number of good MCAs. But at the same time, in the same breath, we have MCAs that have self-seeking. Why do I say this? Is because MCAs have three roles to play in the county assembly. One, it is the oversight role. The next one is to make laws of the county. And the third one is representation to the people. But when they are coming into power, they also have to use a lot of resources to get that position. So they add another role in themselves to look for resources. So when they're there, and of course they have the three functions, and they want to look for resources, remember by act of our PFM Act, and this is a gap that this nation should address, it envisages a situation that the MCA and the governor have brothers, are co-workers, but they are not. They are two different miles apart politicians. So who is given the huge, who manages this huge kitty, 10 billion? The governor, with his cabinet. The MCAs are given the role to oversight. But that role to oversight, what documents to actualize what the governor must do with the 10 billion, who is given the responsibility to ensure he passes those documents? The MCA. And therefore by that makes him very powerful. It is these documents, and if you allow me, Karula, I mentioned like the 4 documents that they are used. One, actually there are almost 6. There is the integrated development plan. That takes 5 years. It is prepared. Every MCA must acquaint himself or herself with that document, because it's the roadmap of what you need to do within the 5 years. There is annual development plan. That is done yearly. He should acquaint himself what are the priorities. And this is a very comprehensive documents that are done within a specific area. They are done so that through public, what we call public participation, these documents are raised. The other documents, before you now come to the budget, there is the budget policy statement that is released by the national government to align government expenditure in line with what the future holds for the country. When that is done, then there is the outlook review paper. The outlook review paper looks back and say, how did we spend our money? Where did we have shortfalls? Where do we need to improve? How do we suggest that we give more votes to this particular area? So it gives a suggestion in the way the money should be allocated. Then finally, you have what we call the physical strategy paper. The physical strategy paper now comes to a firm, either a med or a firm, what the outlook review paper had said. All these documents are going through public participation and must be passed through the county assembly. The physical strategy paper, when it is finally passed, then we must do the finance bill. The finance bill is the bill now out of that, what you have already said, how are you going to get resources to finance this expenditure? And it therefore elaborates, puts measures of how you're going to collect this revenue, how you expect it, who will do it, when it will be done. And that again is passed through the county assembly. This is now allows you now to prepare the budget based on these particular issues. So what we need to sort of that. What we need to tell you is that an MCA therefore needs to understand comprehensively all these documents. Do they have time? Do they have the capacity, some of them, to understand all these particular documents? And therefore it becomes stressful, coupled with the pressure to look for resources. So what happens then? The MCA, you'll find exhibiting emotions, exhibiting some way of leveraging, twisting, because if you have this resource and have only this, why should I not also have A, B, C, D? Because I'm the authority. You are sharing. Why don't you share it to me? That's the issue. You hear Ward Development Fund. But then, what is the remedy? Because we need to ask ourselves that particular question. Allow me to put this phone off.
Sure. I think you can just pick it up. It's okay.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, the Ward Development Fund has a pressure from the fact that if you look at the national government, the MPs has Ward Development Fund. I mean the Constituency Development Fund.
Sure.
Is a replica. What is national is a replica of the county. So MPC is asking himself, why don't I also have a Ward Development Fund? But I remember 2013, I think the governor then, Nairobi County, Kidero, had taken that, and it was ruled out to have a Ward Development Fund then. And when that happened, I remember my governor, Kedothia Bow, a man I respect, we sat down and asked ourselves, what was this to address? What was it supposed to do? And we kind of prepared a budget that accommodated Ward Development Fund. We had to sit down with the MCAs, prioritize the project he wants to do. We'll have allocated in every ward this amount of money. And with that, the MCAs were managed very well by the governor. He was able, because he also understood them from their perspective, because they are politicians too. And people have a lot of expectation for them. They have to attend every Maztanga, every Mazishi, everywhere, every wedding, and they have to contribute. So with that understanding, and they must be seen to do what is required to do, then we allocated that when now they are implementing this project, although it's the county government implementing, but they can take credit on it politically, so that now they became relevant. So that is what every governor should look into. A leadership strategy, pull the MCS together. You're not fighting. These resources are meant for Ajiko, so that you agree on a mode operandi on how you're going to implement these resources and how you're going to share, so that every politician becomes relevant. But if one wants to be more relevant than the other, then you fight the war. So there can be an in-house arrangement on how things can be. But if the government would look critically, will remove the gap in the PFM Act. The PFM Act says, from this date, we shall have the preparations and tabling of the county strategy paper, the budget on this date, the outlook review paper on this date. But it doesn't envisage a situation where there is a mistrust, a situation where there is conflict, because it should create a place where if this it should be adjudicated to by the county assembly by this date. If they don't, it is stand approved. Or if the county assembly rejects this by this, then the cabinet should also address this matter if the county assembly has referred this matter. So that now there is a back and forth, and if it is done second time, then there's a leeway that the issues of the county assembly and the governor's position can be taken to Senate.
Okay.
and has a committee in Senate that looks at it and makes a final judgment, and things flow.
Okay.
That way, you'll find there's no politicians who will have twisted the other, because there's a process and there's a timeline that you must execute your mandate.
Right.
That is not there in the PFM, and that's the biggest challenge.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're talking about twisting, and I'm reminded of what we saw recently on media during the past few weeks between the MCAs even threatening impeachment due to that.
Yes.
I think that's something that advice would work great.
Yeah,
in
they
like that.
should
Okay.
work well.
All right. And you've also mentioned about doing the in-house arrangement, having the development fund, but not really calling it that for the MCAs.
It is the way you allocate resources that equitably fits all the wards, and allowing the MCA, though the county government is the one implementing, but allowing the MCA to take credit politically, so that now you are still doing what you must do as a governor, but the MCA has a leeway to show people that he is also doing something.
Exactly.
He has a road. You find him there with the tractors and supervising, and the wananchi can see our MC is working, because you also must seek a relevance. But the moment as a politician they are seen to be relevant, you will always find war.
Okay.
A politician would not like you to shield him.
Yes.
He will always be ensured. I thank the training I went through under my governor, Kenneth Obogo, the former controller of State House, is a man that this country owes a lot.
Yeah.
He's a great man.
Okay. And then who manages now the funds allocated to them? Is it the county or is it the MCAs?
No, it's the county government.
It's the county
government. See, the county government has the technocrats. It has the engineers of the Lowe's Road. It has the field officers who are managing this particular. The only thing is, the MCA is just there when the work is being done to come, because he participated in saying, can you prioritize to do this water borehole here? We have a scarcity of water. Can you do this road for this ward? So he participated in prioritizing based on the needs of people as a representative. So when you allow him to take political leadership on that, as a governor, when it is done, it's still the governor, it's still the MCA. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great. I think we'll take a very short break. When we come back, we'll now talk about the Senate oversight funds.
Okay.
Everyone is asking for funds.
Yes, yes.
Well, let's take a very short break. You do keep it right here, Kirk Mid Morning. Interact with us on our social media pages. That is Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. See you in a few.
Are you looking to grow your business? Kirk TV offers you a variety of advertising opportunities to suit your budget. Advertise with us today and reach your potential customers countrywide. For more information, email us on sales@kirktv.org or call 011 00 90 647.
Fellow Kenyans and Christians, I urge you, things are not good. Aki, mambo si poa. Hii environment tuitunze jameni. Let us plant trees. And please don't say you don't have anywhere to plant trees. Each one of us can plant 1, 2, 10, as many trees as we can. Because even if you have a small plot and you are saying you don't have space to plant a tree, if we have drought, even that small piece of land that you have will not help you. Ninawasihi nyinyi wote, mukubali tupande miti. Our institutions tupande miti. Makanisani tupande miti. Kwetu manyumbani, hata wala watu tunaishi town, panda miti hata kama ni kwa bucket. Na hiyo miti itatupatia hewa safi. Na hiyo miti itatupatia mazingira mazuri. Wakati huu ni kugumu, ninawasihi kama mwenzenu, Mkenya mwenzenu, Mkristo mwenzenu, mukubali tuungane mikono, tupande miti. Na miti ni uhai. Tafadhali, tupande miti. Asanteni sana.
A 198 countries will convene this November in Egypt. Together, they'll tackle this giant climate change. Catch the analysis of the United Nations Climate Change Conference COP27 live on Kirk TV as the conference kicks off from Sunday 6th November to Friday 18th November. The time for climate action is now. Together,
Are you looking to grow your business? Kirk TV offers you a variety of advertising opportunities to suit your budget. Advertise with us today and reach your potential customers countrywide. For more information, email us on sales@kirktv.org or call 011 00 90 647.
Fellow Kenyans and Christians, I urge you, things are not good. Aki, mambo si poa. Hii environment tuitunze jameni. Let us plant trees. And please don't say you don't have anywhere to plant trees. Each one of us can plant 1, 2, 10, as many trees as we can. Because even if you have a small plot, and you are saying you don't have space to plant a tree, if we have drought, even that small piece of land that you have will not help you. Ninawasihi nyinyi wote, mukubali tupande miti. Our institutions tupande miti. Makanisani tupande miti. Kwetu manyumbani, hata wala watu tunaishi town, panda miti hata kama ni kwa bucket. Na hiyo miti itatupatia hewa safi. Na hiyo miti itatupatia mazingira mazuri. Wakati huu ni kugumu, ninawasihi kama mwenzenu, Mkenya mwenzenu, Mkristo mwenzenu, mkubali tuungane mikono, tupande miti. Na miti ni uhai. Tafadhali, tupande miti. Asanteni sana.
198 countries will convene this November in Egypt. Together, they'll tackle this giant climate change. Catch the analysis of the United Nations Climate Change Conference COP27 live on Kirk TV as the conference kicks off from Sunday 6th November to Friday 18th November. The time for climate action is now. Together for implementation.
All right, welcome back, and thank you so much for keeping it Kirk mid-morning. With me these days, we're talking about financial planning and expenditure. With me is Francis Madea, financial expert, who's shedding some insights and wisdom right here this morning. Before we took a break, we're talking about the World Development Fund, and now we want to talk about the Senate Oversight Fund, because there's a draft bill proposing that. Let's talk about this first in itself, the oversight funds. What's your take on this?
My take on this, I'm lost in terms of oversight, because the county government is oversighted by the county assembly, and that is in as far as the governor is concerned. However, the Senate exists to ensure that it is able to make laws that allows the county governments to run smoothly. That's purely their role.
Right.
They are also an arbiter in the sense that when, for example, a governor is impeached, the whole process ends up in Senate. And they're able to adjudicate and see, was it fair? Does it have weight? Is it right? It is the other. And we've seen this various cases they have handled where they have dispensed the whole process of impeachment, Iguru, Waitito, and others. But when now it comes to asking for money for oversight, it behoves me to tell me that the Senate wants to be moving to the counties to do the oversight. The question is, when they go there, what will the MCAs do? It will be a completely conflicting roles for them. For me, I would rather they really maintain as a senior legislative assembly, and they maintain as a that. And when they find issues, for example, now the conflicts, as you have just discussed about what is happening in the county assemblies, the war between the governor and the MCAs, and there should be the one looking at where is this issue, where is this gap in our operations in the PFM Act in terms of resources management, so that they are able to come and fix those gaps I was just discussing, to ensure that no one is playing a rough game to the other. The operation is smooth, because that is their role. But when they want to, one person, my senior elder, told me one day that you cannot keep a dog and then go to the gate and start barking. You cannot give somebody a responsibility and then you want to do it. They are the creators. They are the defenders of the county governments. They cannot therefore be the part to execute administrative duties in oversight, in the name of oversight within the county, because they have given an oversight within the law to the county assembly. I think that should not be allowed. And we should request them honorably to maintain their cool at the National Assembly.
Okay, so we can say that this move will usurp the role of the county
It
assembly.
will definitely usurp the role of the county. Because you find a senator coming into the county government and saying, can I see A, B, C, D? How have you been dispensing this and that? There will be a completely direct conflict between him and the government. And this is not the first time. It actually, when the county government 2013 started, there was that kind of an expectation that the people, the senators used to come to the county, to the county governments, and this did not augur well with the governors.
Yeah.
So, in the respect that we give them, I believe they should maintain their cool at the senior legislative assembly, so that they do their due responsibility of creating good, harmonized laws to manage the county government.
Right.
Yeah.
Since we're here already talking about allocation of funds from the Senate, let's look at the National Assembly as well. We have the NGCDF funds, which of course it has been a debate ongoing. They now want it to be entrenched into the Constitution. And for someone who's watching us, they could be wondering, but all along we've been having the CDF funds. Why is it such a debate now? Why is it an issue now? And let's look at then, if it is not entrenched in the Constitution, how will it affect the operations? Of course, they're talking about the CDF funds and how they've come in handy in helping the needy in the community. Yeah, let's touch on this.
The Constituency Development Fund, let me say that it has been impactful to the Kenyans, in the sense that the MPs are able to address the infrastructure specifically, especially on education, building of classrooms and those amenities in education. You know, when the CDF came in, it was way before the new constitution came in. When that MP, I think from Olkarau, brought the bill and it was enacted as a law, it continued to be the leverage point and to make the politician, the MP, very relevant in the constituency. And therefore the pinch you find when it is removed, because they are left vulnerable in terms of resources to that extent. It has also acted on others losing their position because of the mismanagement of the same CDF fund.
Right.
However, with the new dispensation, the question that the one I heard the court saying is that how then, when we started the new dispensation of the new constitutions, the county government came in and they are funded heavily by the national government. The constituencies exist within the counties.
Right.
And they are part of the counties. Giving these funds to the county, to the constituencies, is a replica of the funds we are giving to the county government, and therefore they ruled it out as an illegality. I'm yet to see how they will bring the bill so that now it addresses that niche, which of course the CDF has been addressing, but at the same time address the issue of equity. Because there are counties that have many number of constituencies, and there are counties that have very few constituencies. It means those with huge constituencies have more funding as opposed to the ones with the few constituencies. So that must play out in terms of equity. And whatever bill they bring, it must play out. And then the government must also be ready to see, are we able to fund both, continue funding both, because at the end of the day, this money goes to the citizens, the Wajiko, in terms of alleviating the problems that they are facing. So I will not be opposed to it, but it should also address that issue of equity.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You've raised a very important point that the constituencies exist within the counties.
Yes.
Which has taken me back to your point earlier on the Ward Development Fund.
Yeah.
of course, this is going to be a burden to the counties, what I'm going to put forth. But then could it be, can we find what can I say, a way in that, you know, money allocated to counties, then counties can also find a way to accommodate Member of Parliament?
You see, there was a draft bill that, if I recall, that tried to bring the governors and the MCAs and the Member of Parliament within a county government.
Okay.
I don't know how far that bill went, but it was a very good approach, so to speak, because all these funds come to the county.
Right.
You'll find a governor putting a budget to give bursaries to a certain number of people. The MP puts some bursary to give to a certain number of people. You will finally end up finding that this one benefited from the CDF, and he has also benefited from the county, bearing how connected he is. But there is somebody who has not even enjoyed one. So because when the constituency management board is not cognizant of the fact that what the county government is doing, then these resources therefore should be adjudicated as a central point. It may have, the MP may have his own fund, but the county may also have their own fund. But in terms of allocating, in terms of development and infrastructure, so that we do not duplicate. Whatever the county is doing is not the same as the MP is doing. That will help. MPs have been addressing, because of the cost of functions, addressing the undevolved function. For example, the education in terms of secondary and tertiary and university. That's mainly where they have been funding their money. Whereas the county government has been doing other things like the bursary and the rural laws. But once in a while you find a conflicting. There is a social hall being done somewhere where the MP is also saying he's the one who funded that social hall, and the county is the one also who funded their social hall. Now the question is, when you finally finish the audit, and the audit is done independently, they don't speak to each other, and therefore funds are lost. So that should be looked into.
All right.
To harmonize that.
All right. Before we call it a wrap, let's touch on 2-3 national matters here, because I mean, from time is not on our side. Now, let's talk about what President William Ruto, rather the Kenya Kwanza government, is proposing on encouraging the saving culture amongst Kenyans, so that then the country can reduce on international loans, where we find that if there's a need to get a loan, then we get a loan from SACCOs, from pension, from within. Let's talk about the reality of this.
Let me start by saying credit is good when properly managed.
Okay.
Because credit creates wealth, and wealth create assets that generate revenue.
Right.
Was it that the entire borrowed fund, in terms of the several trillions that we owe now, almost 8 plus, if that money really was used in the right purposes, we would not have a stress or strain in terms of repaying that money. Because the government provides infrastructure where the private sector thrives. Because it is the private sector that pushes the growth of a nation. Coupled with the increased government expenditure, then the citizens enjoy the thriving economy. I take you back when Kibaki came into government. When Kibaki came to government, he knew one fundamental thing, that when the government become a competitor in the private sector, things go wrong. Because the greatest growth is pushed by the private sector. So if there's cash crunch within the private sector, there is no growth whatsoever, that other than what the government is trying to do. So what did the Kibaki do? He was the first one who did borrow outside the country and left the commercial banks feed the private sector. That was so good, because if I recall, we would find banks hawking outside the banking hall and asking you can get a loan, a salary loan within 24 hours. Facility funding within this span of everybody went because the money was available.
Right.
But now when the government becomes a competitor, you find you cannot borrow. Why? The commercial banks makes a risk analysis. They say you have a high risk if I give you, and I'm not certain I'll recover that money.
Yeah.
But here is the government with a bond, with a treasury bill that is going for 12, 13. Why should I wait for you to give me a 13 with a lot of risk? They take the entire money to the government. You are left with very little in terms of borrowing, and normally those who have the muscles to borrow that finally borrow. So for me, a saving culture is very good because again we thrive through our savings. It is the savings that we are able to leverage to do. It is very, very, very good. But at the same time, my fear is if we will save the NSF, the issues that we know, and then finally this money turns out to be the same money the way we borrowed Euro bonds that back and forth, you don't know how this money was used, then we'll be in a more disastrous. Because this pension money, when you're talking about pension money, is people's money.
Yes.
If you mess up and you're not able to pay back, what will happen? This person cannot wait to retire.
Yeah.
This person cannot wait in her age to get her access to our funds. So we, as Kenyans, we must be assured, even as much as I agree fully with the president, that the culture of saving is very, very important and fundamental, we must also be assured credibility, integrity in terms of management of those particular resources. But the government internally borrowing will cripple this country. It should balance between portfolios out and mega minimum if you have to borrow within the internal, you exercise the internal borrowing. Because so that the private sector, the entrepreneurs can easily access credit and they easily can do, because it is the private sector that pays the government the taxes that is looking for to thrive in terms of revenue. So when they don't grow, you don't have these taxes.
That's right.
And you're done.
That's
you're
right.
fixed. Yes.
Yeah. I think for me, what has stuck with me is credit is good when well managed.
Well managed.
That's it for me.
Yes.
Of course, before we call it today, there's a directive by the President to the Treasury to cut its budget by 300 billion. Let's talk about this because we're in very tough economic times.
Yes.
And want to save what is already there, the little that is there. And of course, there's a circular going on where, of course, 70% from this, 100% from this, we're going to reduce all that. How, if indeed this is actualized, how is this going to help us?
As I said again, saving is very good.
Yeah.
But there is, of course, going to be a shock that is sent through, and as a ripple effect. If you save through expenditures that are not relevant, you can have meetings, say for example, expenditure being withdrawn and you hold your meetings within your boardrooms, that is a tick. But then when you say you want to reduce some salary for employees within the government, they become very sensitive, because remember, this employee is also faced with these hard times.
Yes.
In terms of purchasing power. When you reduce this purchasing power, the inflation is increasing, the prices are going up, there is a double or triple effect to this individual. So I would only advise that we become sensitive with the areas that we are touching. If the areas that we can bear, not as an individual, but as a group, that so be it. But those that affect direct us at the bottom line, then the government must be sensitive, because what they are looking for, they might not find the solution, because those they are caring for will have been gone in terms of problems that they may be facing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for today.
Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe what will be your parting shot?
Yes. My parting shot is that let's support the government. Let's support the president in whatever agenda he is trying to do. so that this country can stabilize. But Kenyans, I would say, let's completely detest issues of corruption. Because when the president says we are losing 2 billion every single day because of corruption, you try to internalize and see what that money can do to us as citizens is huge for all our benefit. So let's do that. Let's stop it in whatever level, right from the traffic level all the way to the offices, and this country will start again. For the governors and the MCAs, sit down and talk.
Okay.
It's a pure leadership.
Yeah.
Because Kenyans have given you the ability, they have given you the faith that you can manage the counties. Sit down and agree. There is nothing that is cast on stone. You can solve and fix. But let integrity be the priority to take preeminent. Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming today. Francis Madea was our guest, a financial expert. We've had a discussion on financial planning and expenditure. Thank you so much to you all who tuned in. I see your comments on Facebook, saying tuned in from Thika and locked in. We do appreciate it. It's Kirk Mid-Morning right here comes to an end today. But do keep it Kirk TV because we have a wholesome programming lined up for you. My name is Faith Kaulu. Till next time, goodbye.